So I'll start with a question. So has it ever happened to you that you go to the fridge because you feel like eating some, I don't know, peanut butter sandwich or some chocolate or some ice cream, and before you notice it, it's already gone? And or has it ever happened to you that you get maybe a couple of new boots or shoes, and then after a while you kind of forget about them, and then you see a new pair, and you already feel like, oh well, maybe it's time for some new ones. There's nothing wrong with them, but you have just lost interest. Or has it ever happened to you that you uh, go on vacations or holidays to visit someone, and you were really looking forward to this trip, and you had a lot of ideas and expectations, and once you're there, you feel it's not quite uh, satisfying. It has not really met the expectations that you had. Or maybe that you were very happy writing a paper, an article, and then once you're there, it's already like not enough. Like you're already thinking uh, about something else. So so all of these questions, I think they have something in common, and that is desire or craving, or the Pali word tanya or tanka. And and desire, usually translated as desire or craving or wanting, is in the Buddhist teachings is said to be one of the causes of dukkha, or insatisfaction, suffering, tension, stress. So so all of these examples are related with that, but I think they're related with something else that I will say something. I will say later on an underlying cause. But first, let me make a small remark about desire. So I think there's nothing wrong actually with desire. And I mean, we evolved to desire, and in some way, desire has brought us here. And from your answers, I think yeah, there is a motivation and intention, and I think that is very useful. I mean, effort arises from desire, and in Zen is sometimes called the way of seeking the mind, and that takes also motivation. So in some way, I mean, desire is okay. It might be even beneficial. It brings effort, it brings motivation, it brings interest, inspiration. The problem is that sometimes desire or craving takes control over the experience. And with that, the craving disconnects us from the actual present experience. And it moves us to another plane where reality does not correspond to the expectations that we have. And that mismatch, that disjoint intersection between reality, what the world is offering, and our desires and our expectations, since they are disjoint, then that creates frustration. Um, and this disconnection is the cause of dissatisfaction. Um, and it is like when going to get going back to the first examples, when when going, you were really wanting to eat maybe some chocolate, and the desire to eat that chocolate was so strong that you miss the opportunity to really taste it and enjoy it. By the time you realize, it's already gone. Uh, or maybe that vacation that you were really looking forward, was the expectations were so strong and the desire to be there was so strong. Thank you. So well, I think you can probably explain it better than me. Take over. Yeah, I apologize. My computer is too old to handle Zoom. So I don't remember well where I left, but Angel was telling me that it was in the chocolate for the second time. So did you hear the cross country? Uh, okay. Well, so I'll just start there. Um, so, so I wanted to say that it was that one of the issues with desire was that it disconnects us from the present experience. And I'm not sure if Mado already mentioned that. And once I was going cross country skiing with Stephanie, and we were in on the train, and one stop before our final destination, we saw some people leaving, and uh, and in that moment we were like, oh, what's going on? Why people are leaving now? And we realized, oh, there's another ski resort there. Well, not resort, but like place to ski. And in that moment, then desire appeared, and I started to think, oh well, this place is maybe better. It was indeed cheaper, had longer opening hours, and so the nice train ride going to the ski place was overtook by desire, and now I was only thinking about what I could have that I don't have. And then it was, I mean, fortunately it faded away, but it was completely disconnecting my present experience of the train rides. And the same thing is when maybe eating chocolate, or as Mado was saying, ice cream. So the desire is so strong to eat chocolate or ice cream that the moment that you start to eat it, it feels like as if it was not enough, and maybe you don't even realize it. Or maybe when planting something, you plant I mean, now it's going to start the tomato season. And when you plant something, we sometimes plant here tomatoes in summer, and often is you take the seed, and it is not the seed what it is not the seed what you're seeing is you're already seeing the tomato fruit, but the tomato is everything, is both the seed and the roots and the plant and the fruit. And it is like this impatience that appears, like, oh, I want to have like that tomato sliced on my plate, but it takes some time, and then comes the frustration because the desire is disconnecting you from reality, from what it is in front of you. And another issue with desire is that it suffocates the experience. Uh, you are with something, and in the process of wanting or desiring it, it ends up suffocating the actual experience, like with the chocolate. You're not tasting it anymore because the desire is so strong. And I was mentioning the friend. Did you hear the friend coming to visit you? No? Ah, okay. So this is something I observed when a friend, maybe a friend that lives abroad, comes to visit you, and you're really looking forward to meet and be with this friend. And maybe you start to make plans and preparations, and you think, oh, we can go, this friend likes, I don't know, museums, we can go there, or this friend likes to go hiking, so we can go to that mountain or that lake. And maybe we can go to that restaurant, and so on and so forth. So you start to make a lot of plans. And it is maybe only a few days after the friend leaves, maybe 2-3 days after this person is gone, that you realize, wait, I didn't have chance to actually be with the friend. The desire to see your friend, the craving was so strong that the very desire suffocated the experience to be with that person, with your friend. So instead of experiencing the full satisfaction that that activity or object can give you, at least at a relative level, the desire deprives us of what the experience or object or activity is able to offer. And I think, well, my my next point is along the lines of what Mado was saying, that it is not the desire that is the actual root, but the ignorance. So ignorance of not knowing that what maybe we are, what we want is a sense of connection. So when this friend comes, going back to the example, we fill up our schedule with activities, thinking that those activities will actually fill the lack, the hole. But the activities are not going to do that. It is actually the sense of connection, of being with that person, of really spending some time and bonding. So in a way, it is the ignorance of not knowing that everything is fine just the way it is, including this disconnection. And I think this is the issue with wanting, right? So sometimes when friends come and visit us, or I realize that it is not in that it is not in that restaurant that I booked, or in that super hiking that I planned, or in that museum that we visited, where we really connect. But it is maybe just in that longer breakfast that was not planned, where you just spent another hour having a cup of tea or coffee. Or maybe it is at the end of the day, when there's no more activity and you're just there with your friends. And it is in those moments, if we allow them to appear, where we really, where that hole finally starts to be filled in, because then there is a real sense of connection. So we want to approach it by bringing externalities, by maybe either buying things or acquiring something, or putting more activities, but it is just in the actual experience of being with the friend, or being with something. And unfortunately, in the economic system we live in, as Mado was saying, it promotes, it feeds this ignorance, it feeds desires. It makes us, as Mado was saying, hungry ghosts. It is never, things are never enough. And it feeds the idea that it is not by connecting, but by accumulating things, objects, recognition, that you will be satisfied, instead of recognizing that the satisfaction is way closer than what you think it is. As soon as we get one pair of shoes or a new smartphone, we are tired and we start to think about the next one. And if we were not thinking about the next one, then marketing reminds us that we should start thinking about the next one, because ours is already too old and there's no reason to like it, and maybe it's time to desire something else. I remember being at an airport a long time ago, uh, where there was a poster saying, I think it was related to a perfume or a watch or some luxury item, and it said, "Not let anything be on the way of your desires." But to be fair with with capitalism, I think that even marketing knows that it is not true. Because when something is advertised, is not is if you notice, is usually commercials are not really selling you the object. It is not that bottle of whiskey. What they are trying to associate that bottle of whiskey is with being with your grandfather and having some time together. So deep inside, there's the recognition that it is the connection with your grandfather, what you are really looking for. But they disguise it as a bottle of whiskey, or uh, or that super expensive holiday, all inclusive this and that. But deep inside, they just show people on the beach, or maybe doing a hike on the mountain. It's just maybe is much simpler than that, but but it is usually disguised as another desire. So in all of these failed or uh, examples with frustration, I have also found that there are also moments when that desire is not so strong. And one way to open ourselves to that experience of connection, or of uh, bringing wisdom to ignorance, is by just finding true contentment, by just being in the present experience. Uh, so finding contentment not in the desire of the object or activity, but just in the experience itself. Uh, which reminds me of a question that Mado once posed: what is essential? And I think when we look deeply at that, we recognize that sometimes it's way simpler. That is just that the things are just there. That that desire which takes us away from the present experience can be, and that satisfaction that is gone to another plane is actually way closer, just by being where we are. In Spanish, and I think in Spanish-speaking cultures, there's a word for, there's when you have dinner or lunch, after you finish that, there's a word for that period, which is called sobremesa, which literally means over the table. And in many families, especially in my family, it is the highlight of the dinner. So it is not the meal. So sometimes maybe I go, when I go back home, I go with my parents to a restaurant, and yeah, we enjoy the food, and we have a good time. But the highlight is just being together when there is no more food and you're just having a cup of coffee or tea. And that is, I think, so sobremesa celebrates the interconnectedness. It celebrates that it is that it is connection, what is essential. Sometimes at home, maybe even dogs come in during sobremesa, so everyone is allowed to be there. So it is not about having more. It is not about having another expensive dish. It is just about being there with what you have, with the people that you have. And another, just to finish, one last example. of uh, of being seduced by desire and craving, and at the end finding contentment in the present experience and in connecting with what it is, which I think at the end uh, is the maybe the message that I wanted to convey. So not so that desire suffocates experience. It takes us away from where we are, and it is about coming back to the present experience and experiencing again this connection and interconnectedness. What really breaks the ignorance. So the example is I was some years ago traveling by bicycle in Asia, in Southeast Asia, and I was with a friend, and for many weeks, maybe 3 or 4 weeks, we were just eating fried rice with vegetables. So there was, I mean, for morning, so breakfast, lunch, and dinner, all the time. And maybe every now and then we would have pho if we were lucky, the soup. So we were having like we ate every day, maybe like 30 days, the same thing. Maybe sometimes we would have an egg if we were lucky, and and then finally we arrived to the capital of Laos, Vientiane, and there we met some people, and they invited us to go for dinner. So we went to a restaurant, and I remember that I looked at the menu, and there were a lot of dishes. Where there were actually maybe not that many. Maybe there were only like 8 or 10. But for me, there were like, whoa, there are a lot of things to choose. And then like, well, desire was activated. Was like, oh yeah, I'm here. And uh, and then I started to think, what could I have? You know, like, well, I have never tried that and that, and now it's my chance of trying this and that and that. So the person who was taking the order asked me, so what would you like? And I was like, oh, I need some time, I need some time. And then the next person went, and the next person, and then I started to feel stressed because I still couldn't make up my mind. And my friend was also in the same dilemma. He was also like, oh no, no, let me be the last one. So then I was a little bit struggling with him who was going to be the last one. So finally, it was already taking some time. Everyone had ordered, and every time was like, oh, but that sounds great, or I could take that. So the person was like, well, what do you want? And I remember very well that in that moment I was like, okay, okay, okay. So I closed the menu, put it in front, and simultaneously with my friend, I said, so both together we said, for me, fried rice with vegetables. So it was like just being with what it is. So let me finish just with a quote from Henry David Thoreau. Happiness is like a butterfly. The more you chase it, the more it will elude you. But if you turn your attention to other things, it will come and sit softly on your shoulder. Thank you.